Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Let's Learn ES6. My name's Ryan Cristiani, I live in Toronto, and I'm a teacher and instructor at HackerU. And today I wanted to go over objects. So in ES6 there's some new additions to objects, and I wanted to go over three things in particular. We're going to talk about shorthand methods, shorthand properties, and object.assign. Object.assign is something I've been using for a while and I really love it, and I just want to kind of show you. So first things first, we're just going to use JSBin for this one. And we're going to keep it really simple, just JavaScript in the console visible. And we don't actually have to change this at all because all of this stuff we're going to look at today is available right in the browser. So we don't have to select the ES6 Babel transformation stuff. So first thing we're going to take a look at is object shorthand methods. So let's make like a flower object. And we want to have a couple properties on it. So we'll have like, I guess, a height on it. Actually, put that in there. Height equals, I don't know, how big are flowers? I'm going to put 10. I don't know what that is. Color, we'll say, is yellow. And maybe we want to have, oops, if I could spell yellow there. And maybe we want to have a grow method on it. So typically with methods on objects pre-ES6, you'd have to do something like that. And maybe this is just like this dot height plus equals 5, I guess. Sure. So methods before ES6, you would have the property name, and then the value you assign to it would be the function or a function. Excuse me, an anonymous function that you could use. So if we say let flower dot grow here. Wow. Here we go. And then console.log, say flower.height. We should see 15 now. Cool. And that works great. But this kind of like is a little confusing sometimes. And you know what? Maybe not confusing, just kind of like not the nicest to look at. So in ES6 with the new shorthand methods, we can actually go ahead and do that. We can just remove the colon, we can remove the function altogether, and if we run this again, we'll see that we get the exact same thing. And we've actually seen this pattern already. If you haven't seen the episode on classes, I'll paste a link in the description below. But we've seen this pattern before when we define our class methods and stuff like that. And it's pretty sweet. I've been using it a lot because it just makes kind of writing your methods a little bit cleaner, a little bit nicer. Maybe one day we'll get rid of that. I don't know. I don't even know if I would like that, getting rid of that. You let me know in the comments below. Anyways, so that is shorthand method. So it's basically, this is the same as applying a anonymous function to the property grow to create the method. And I think that's pretty sweet. The next thing I want to take a look at is shorthand properties. So this is actually pretty neat. And if you've seen the video on destructuring, we've actually kind of seen this already. So how are we going to do this? Let's see. Let's just make a couple properties. Let's say let height equal 4, I guess. Let strength equal 100. Maybe we're making like a warrior or something like that. We could say let warrior equal an object. So what we could do here is we could say if we wanted to apply the height and the strength to this, we could go height, height. We could go strength, but that's kind of redundant. It's kind of, we're doing the same thing over and over and over again. And we'll just to show that this works, we can go console.log warrior here. We run it and we see this object that has a height of 4 and a strength of 100. With shorthand property assignments in ES6, though, we can go ahead and remove the assignment portion. Well, the assignment still happens, but the older version of doing the assignment where we say height colon whatever value, we can now just use these variable names that have the values, and it'll go ahead and do it for us. And again, we've seen this sort of when we do destructuring, or if you looked at the modules episode where we import a module that has multiple things, we can destructure it and kind of just shorthand pick these things out. And if I clear this and run this, we'll see the exact same thing. And this is pretty sweet. If you're ever using, say, like the modulo pattern or the revealing modular pattern, so if I'm like function module, I guess that's a keyword now, module pattern. There used to be an old pattern. I guess it's not really that old, but you'll probably see this going away as we actually have modules now. But maybe you'd want to, define functions up here like add or something like that, and function subtract. And these are functions that you want to kind of like keep hidden to this module itself. But this function here would return, say, an object. And maybe this object would only want to return the add portion. So you used to have to do stuff like this. You could say add, and that would allow us to return just the add function. But now we can actually just go ahead and do this, and we can just return add using the shorthand method, and we can kind of get it back. It's really quite nice. Yeah, cool. So the last thing I want to show, this is going to be a quick video today, is object.assign. And this is really quite neat. I've been using this a lot, especially doing a lot of node work for some reason. But object.assign is a new method on the object, a static method on the object that allows us to take a source and take multiple targets and just kind of combine them together and create a new object. Now, if you've ever used a library like underscore or Lodash, you'll have seen stuff like extend. jQuery actually has one of these, $.extend as well. And the idea here is that we are taking objects and kind of merging them together in a sense. So let's do this. Let's say we have let person equal name Ryan. I know I always use like a person object, but I feel like it makes the most sense. Height. Let's say he is, I guess, 185 or something like that, right? And we'll do like, maybe we're doing, again, similar like a video game or something like that, strength, whatever 100 means. And then we have a warrior object that is like, they have maybe they're higher, they're like the super tall kind of warrior idea. So it's like 200 whatever centimeters, I guess, and their strength is like 1,000, something crazy like that. So we have these two objects here. I'm just going to put them spaced at the bottom here. We have these two objects here, and we want to kind of merge them together. And using object.assign, we can do that. So we can do this. We can say, let's say var my warrior equals object.assign. Now, object.assign is a method, and the first parameter in this method is a target object that you want to apply all these things to. Now, I'm going to use an empty object here because I want to take warrior and person, and I want to merge those all together. And if I go console.log now, my warrior, we should see, if I clear this, I hit run, unidentified syntax, cool, but where? Right here, height, missed the comma there. Now if we hit run, boom, we can see this here. Now there's a couple problems. You'll see that warrior, we kind of ideally want our height from the warrior to override the height from this person. And we want the strength to also override that. So this is a bit of an issue where we have to, when we're putting, and I'll move this aside here, when we're ordering these here, we have to put the ones that we want to override last. So for example, we want to change it to go person and then warrior, so that the warrior features override the person features. Now if I hit run, we'll see that the height is 200 and the strength is 1,000. And this is really sweet. So now we have this ability to sort of create or compose objects together. And this is something that's really neat. And this is something that I think makes JavaScript quite nice as opposed to like class-based languages where we can take objects and kind of compose new objects out of them. I think there's a great video. I'll post the link in the bottom by MPJ Fun Function, talking about composition over inheritance. I'll try to find the link. I think that was the title or the subject of it. But yeah, this is really sweet. And this can actually be really quite helpful because this can be used to copy objects. So let's use a person again. So we'll say let person 1. Not a very inspirational class name, but that's okay. We'll say their name is Ryan. That is me. And we'll say let person 2 equal, I'll use one of my brother's names. Let's use Ben. So this is kind of common, especially early on. Well, I'll clear that. Where you want to take maybe like one object, or actually even better, let's say let person 1 equal let person 2 equal person 1. And we'll put another property on here. We'll put an age property of 21, something like that. You might later on want to be like, oh, person 2's name should actually be Ben, or something like that. But there's a problem here. Because we assigned person 1 the reference to person, or person 2 the reference to person 1, I'm getting confused on my variable names and I picked them. Because we're assigning person 2 the value of person 1, we're actually assigning it this whole object. And it's like a reference to that object. So sadly, if we go console.log person 1 here, you're going to see, oh, sorry, I got to go person 2.name. My bad. There we go. If we go like that, we can see that person 1 has now been mutated. It's changed. It is now Ben instead of Ryan. And that's not good because we want person 1 to be Ryan, then we want person 2 to also be age 21, but maybe this new name, Ben. So using object.assign, we can actually copy objects, which is really neat. So object.assign, oh my goodness. Wow. There we go. We can say, so the first thing is going to be our target object. So you could actually use an actual object that exists already, but I like to use an empty object because it allows us to just create a new copy of something. So we have the target object and then the source. And as you saw in the last example where we had person and warrior, the sources kind of keep going and going and going and going as long as you want. You don't have to supply only 3 sources. You can supply as many as you want, which is quite neat. So this here will create a copy of person 1, throw it into this target object, and then store that on person 2. And if I go person 2.name now equals Ben, oops, mixing my quotes there. There we go. And I console.log, well, let's do both of them. So person 1 and person 2, we'll see that we have copied the object. So person 1 remains intact. Person 2 gets the value of age 21, but it also now gets this new name that we assigned here. And the great thing is we could actually do something like this if we really wanted. We could skip this whole step here and do something like, so we want to copy person 1, but we also want to give it the name of Ben. And that'll do the exact same thing for us. So again, we can kind of keep adding things to this object.assign property. Pretty neat. So that's it for this video. These are just a couple new things that are available in object literals. There's actually a couple more things. And if you want to find out what those things are, I mean, you could Google them around, but I am writing a book. Let's learn ES6.com is where you can find information on that. Please sign up to the email so that you get information when it comes out. Should be coming out an early release soonish. Here's a table of contents of sort of what we're doing. Chapter 6 will be all about objects and stuff like that. Template literals chapter is coming soon as a sample chapter. And I actually might do an ES6 Now chapter as well, just kind of going over using, say, NPM scripts in Babel, Gulp in Babel. And I just did my last video Webpack. I'm going to add that to that chapter as well. So, as always, please subscribe to this video if you haven't. Check out letslearnes6.com. Follow me on Twitter at rchristiani. Other than that, I hope you learned something today, and I'll see you later. Bye!